Guys, welcome back to Play on Footy. Today we're going to be looking at the Brisbane Lions, the reigning 2024 AFL Premiers. So let's kick it off with just a little bit of a background of where I think they will sit in 2025, and then I will tell you where I think the Brisbane Lions will finish up in the season 2025. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this video and also to this channel. I talk about AFL trades, AFL fantasy, AFL previews, and AFL predictions. So yeah, it's all here, and as well as just AFL news in general. So if you're an AFL diehard, this is the channel for you. So please go and check out all my other videos as well before the season starts, which is super soon. And I cannot wait for the practice matches that are coming up this week. So yeah, let's get into this video looking at the Brisbane Lions. So look, you could see already the talent on the screen, and you would have recognized this guy down here, Prince Charming, who basically took out the Norm Smith medal, which he won deservingly, of course. He just was fantastic in that game, especially considering where he came from in 2023 when he had that really sad knee injury or ACL injury, and then he came back and then won the Norm Smith the following year. That is an amazing comeback story, and I think a lot of people on that day were just blown away at the man's resilience and just the sheer determination to get back and obviously help his fellow teammates win the flag, where they just demolished the Swans, let's be honest. But we all know that story. Let's look at some of the talent on the screen here. So Kyle Lohmann came a massive long way, this young man. He did a really good job in the grand final, but all throughout the season, he was really the Lions' spearhead, as he sort of tag team there with Logan Morris as well, who was a new young-blooded recruit for the Brisbane Lions, and they really kick-started what was really this special sort of forward line force, as well as Joe Danaher and Callum Archie as well. I mean, they just really knew how to convert from inside 50s to goals, and that was just to the outsider just a pure delight, because the Lions had such forward force and forward power that they could really put a lot of dominance on the scoreboard, and that was on display in the grand final clearly. But yeah, in terms of the midfields, unfortunately we didn't see much of Devon Robinson. Now, he has been linked to the West Coast Eagles for like many years. 2023 was really when he was looking to come over to West Coast, didn't get it done. 2024, same thing, couldn't get it done. So I don't really know where the Lions really want him to play, and I don't think he's a complete waste of space. I think he's got something to offer, but I think in the Lions team at the moment, he just cannot crack in. He cannot crack into this side. It's a real hard side to crack into, unfortunately, especially when you get the likes of Dunkley and McCluggage, who have just been clinical. Cluggage has just been one of those great midfielders. He's super consistent, but also puts scoreboard pressure on as well. And then Dunkley just does what Dunkley does. I mean, for the Bulldogs to lose such a fine midfielder was really just another one of Bevo's slip-ups, because, it just shouldn't have happened. But anyway, we've also got Jared Berry, again, another great midfielder, as well as Will Ashcroft. So, you're just looking at the first tier here, and you're just thinking, oh my goodness, what an absolute plethora of amazing midfielders for the Brisbane Lions. And then you've got Lachie Neale, which is the captain. They've got two captains, him and Harris Andrews. But, it's amazing to see. I think where Lachie Neale's also come from, losing the 2013 AFL Grand Final when he played for Fremantle, and then to, come so far and play for Brisbane Lions. It's fantastic to see. Fantastic to see for him. I think he's going to have a massive year, another big year. I mean, Lachie Neale just does what Lachie Neale does, let's be honest. And then we've got Levi Ashcroft, Will Ashcroft's brother, who's just been added to the Lions team. Oh my goodness. So you think they couldn't get any better. They just go out and bloody well do. It's just amazing. So yeah, Levi Ashcroft, the brother of Will, has now entered the chat, as they say. Lincoln McCarthy, he's not one to be slept on either. Let's be honest. And then you got Tom Duday, who he missed because of his knee injury. Unfortunately for them both here, knee injuries, which is really sad. But they can come back. They can come back and really do something special. Then you got Logan Morris, who I mentioned earlier. He's just going to be another shining light, bright white light for Lions to really contend again in season 2025. And then they've just gone out and recruited Sam Day. Now, Sam Day's from the Gold Coast Suns. He's a mature age recruit. He's no slouch either. He's one of the founding sons of the Gold Coast Suns, pardon the pun. And he really will add another dimension to come in for Joe Danaher, unfortunately, who retired last season following the GF win, which is a great way to go out, let's be honest. And then you've got Dane Zorko, who again is a mature age body, but he just performed so well last year. It was just unbelievable, not only from an AFL fantasy point of view, but in terms of the way he basically took over from Kitty Coleman following his knee injury, unfortunately his ACL, and he just owned the half-back line. Let's be honest, he just prowled that half-back. He moved the ball so well. He read the play so well that every time he got the ball, he converted by kick to just laser-like accuracy in terms of, making sure every possession was just converted to a T from him to his fellow colleagues and teammates. I just think, looking at Dane Zorko, I hope he plays really well this year like he did last year. I don't see why he can't, but he is so pivotal to that Lions back line and how well they move the ball. Cam Rayner, again, he spent some time in the midfield last year as well as forward, that half-forward role. I don't see him moving into the inside mid role as much as he did last year. I think he's going to be utilised more in that half-forward role or even just that crumbing half forward role, like that third tall sort of role. Depends on how much they use Sam Day, of course, but Cam Rayner is just another one that just really excelled and moved up in terms of where I think a lot of people picked him at in terms of his sort of progression as an elite sports person for the Brisbane Lions. Kitty Coleman, unfortunately, had that news where he's had that flare-up in the knee, unfortunately, where he did his ACL. So that's not great news if you had him flagged in your AFL fantasy team. And it's really sad, obviously, because, he did add a great dimension of, defensive flair in the 2023 season where they ultimately lost to Collingwood, unfortunately. But don't sleep on him. I think he's a good player overall. I just hope he gets better sooner rather than later. Zane, we didn't see much of him. He's from WA, key defender. I think he's 200 centimetres. I think he can play a bit of ruck as well, second ruck, but we didn't see much of him, unfortunately. Charlie Cameron obviously does Charlie Cameron what he does, best. We didn't really see much of him in the grand final. It was a little bit quiet, but, we saw a couple of flashes of brilliance here and there, but nothing like the following season, 2023. And then we got Henry Smith, who played in the ruck, came in and helped Oscar McInerney as well when needed, went forward as well as the ruck. So he's a good player to have in the side, definitely for the Brisbane Lions. Connor McKenna, great. He's just got that dash and run. Can't go wrong there. Darcy Gardner, I think, obviously that was really sad what happened to him with the knee as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how the backline's sort of formulated under Fags in 2025. He's got a couple of pieces to move as well. Eric Hipwood, amazing goal in that grand final from the boundary. I think it was in the third quarter, potentially fourth. I can't remember. But yeah, he's an absolute freak, that guy. And Harris Andrews, don't need to say any more. Darcy Fort as well. He's just one of those guys that, gets the job done when needed. Came in there for Oscar McInerney late in the season as well. Zach Bailey, yeah, he's not one to be slept on either. He's a very handy player. Shadow Brain, yeah, he was an interesting player in the final series. Really did step up when time needed and can be pretty handy at times as well, whether it be on the halfback flank or on the wing even. He's a pretty versatile, handy player. Ryan Lester, don't need to say much about him. Brandon Starcevic, again, just great, just so consistent. Bruce Revel did great in the early part of the season, and I guess, I wouldn't be sleeping on him too much this season as well. I think, he's going to add another, potentially even a defensive layer. He could be a half-back sort of role, to help Zorko from time to time, depending on what Fags has planned. Jack Payne was great in the 2024 grand final. He was definitely helping out, or he was helped out by Harris Andrews as well as Starcevic at times. But again, just had that brick wall of defence for Swans, who just couldn't convert inside 50s at all. Darcy Wilmot, again, he's come leaps and bounds, really, this guy. And, one of the great stories of the final series last year as well. So definitely one to watch again. And Big O, unfortunately, missed the grand final, but he's definitely going to be wanting to make sure these boys get back, and he's going to want to have a medallion around his neck for sure. So definitely not to be slept on. So, what do you guys reckon? Comment out below, like and subscribe. Where do you think the Brisbane Lions are going to end up this season? Who's going to be the most improved? Who's your player to watch this season? Definitely let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe to this video. But I'm going to let you know where I think the Brisbane Lions are going to end up. I actually think they're going to make another grand final. Do I think they're going to win the grand final? I don't know. I actually think Freo could potentially be a threat to them this season, but I definitely think they're going to be contending for another flag and another grand final. I just think they're just too good. Looking at these names, I just think they've got too much talent on this list here. It's going to come down to whether they are hungry enough to back it up, and that's always a hard one in AFL, especially when sometimes you played, the finals campaign, and then you've got to come back, short turnaround, and then get ready for open round or round one. I just think, the Brisbane Lions do have what it takes. I think they've got the maturity. I think they've got the experience. I think they've even got the level of youth, obviously with Levi Ashcroft coming into the team and so forth. I think they've got a well-rounded sort of level of experience that they can definitely move mountains again in season 2025 and go for that grand final berth yet again. But what do you guys reckon? Comment down below. Challenge me on this. I'm happy to be proven wrong, and let's get some conversation going on around it. But until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one.